Okay, Eric.
What issues need to be resolved in this legislative session before you feel it will be a success?
Ooh. I think what issues need to be resolved this session? I want to see us do something, Eric, about the health care. And that's not going to happen. So I try to be a glass half full kind of girl. So I'm going to say for me, for it to be a success, will be if we stop vouchers. Who asked me about that? Yeah, if we are able to stop that voucher bill, I'll consider it a success. But I think it will be a real success when we figure out how to close the wage gap. When we figure out how to do something about poor people, I think it will be a success. Probably one more, maybe. How am I on time, Ms. Payne?
You're good. You have a couple more minutes.
Okay. Anybody else? Burning question? No?
Christian?
Yes, sir. Christian? Okay.
In keeping with our class of interest in civil discourse, explain what current legislative initiative you dislike the most and what is the most reasonable case that its supporters use to defend it. I'm asking you to walk in their shoes.
You're asking?
You to walk in their shoes for me.
Okay. When you think of civil discourse, what is the one issue that troubles me the most and why I'm against it? And then look at it from the other side. The one issue that troubles me the most, I think, can be wrapped up into one description: the anti-union bashing that's going on in this state. That troubles me because it is pitting workers against each other. I find it very troubling because here in South Carolina, we have less than 5% of our workforce that is organized, that is union. And I think we're killing a gnat with a sledgehammer. I don't think unions are a problem here. And I think we're spending way too much time fighting about something that should not have that kind of focus. I think we ought to be talking and fighting about quality education, talking and fighting about making sure people are covered if they're sick. So I'm bothered about how we spend time on what I perceive to be non-issues. But there are issues that are social wedge issues that keep people divided. Walking a mile in my colleagues' shoes, I think they sincerely believe that it's important, that they prevent people from being able to organize. I believe that the people who are proposing all of these restrictions on organized labor really believe that it hurts business. I think that people who are proposing legislation to fix a problem that doesn't exist believe it does. And I think it's important for me to spend my time and energy trying to convince them that our time would be better spent fixing real problems. The other thing, since it just happened last night, that bothers me is this notion of voter ID. Any of y'all heard about voter ID? Voter ID, on the face of it, sounds great, but let me give you some of the challenges and why some of us were opposed to voter ID. There has been not one documented case in South Carolina of somebody using an ID to go in and vote for somebody else. The bill that passed the General Assembly deals with that. It says you can't go in and vote for somebody other than yourself, and we're going to have this photo so you can go in and prove you're who you say you are. Sounds great. Average person, that's reasonable. But it's fixing a problem that does not exist. What does exist? If you are concerned about voter integrity, as my colleague said, and integrity of the process, you know what I think we ought to be fixing when it comes to voters? Our voting machines. Do you know that there have been precincts since November of 2010 that have found votes that were not counted? Do you know right here in this area in Richland County, I know I'm in Lexington.
This is Richland.
This Richland?
This is Richland.
Do you know right here in Richland County in 2 precincts there were votes that were found? One was about 1,600 votes. One was about 1,200 votes. 2 precincts in Richland County. Do you know that the League of Women Voters are doing an audit across the state and they are uncovering votes that were not counted? I believe very strongly that if you are concerned about the integrity of the voting process, you know what I think we ought to be talking about rather than photo ID? We ought to be talking about voter machines. We ought to be talking about a paper trail so that when you go in and vote, you have some assurances that who you voted for is who it was counted for. Did you know that in South Carolina, we don't have that? My point is this. If you are concerned about voter integrity, how about a little integrity for the machines we're using? My colleagues on the other side of the aisle didn't want to have that discussion. Again, I offer this as an example to challenge you to read between the lines and to do more research and to find ways, alternative methods of getting at a problem. And stop with the 30-second soundbite, because that does not give you the full picture. It's always, as Paul Harvey said, more to the story than that.
Hilda, may we ask one more to wrap it up? Ben, would you be kind enough?
And then once you complete serving in the legislature, what do you expect your legacy to be?
I'd like my, oh, Ben, Lord, that makes me think. I'd like my legacy to be that I tried to make a difference, that I was respectful and respected, and that I did the best I could. Just that simple. You know, I really try real hard to make a difference. I really, you know, that I stand for what I believe in. And I go back to the question somebody asked me earlier about my upbringing. I am so glad that I had parents who brought all of us up to stand. It's hard to stand for something when you're the only one who is willing to stand, and there are others who agree, but they're scared. It's hard to deal. It's hard to be. You know, it's hard to stand with scared people, because scared people will bring you down. Oh, don't do that. You know. And I understand how you want to be liked and you want to be. You know, you're at the age where you want to be popular. You want people to like you. You want to fit in. And I'm not speaking against fitting in. But you're going to be an adult one day. And it is important that you learn to stand. And in order to be able to stand with conviction, you got to know why you're doing that. And it can't be because your friend doing it or your friend believes or your parent. You got to know internally. So I just want to be remembered as somebody who just kind of tried hard to do the best I could to make a difference and be nice about it. Final point, y'all. Whatever you wind up doing, let it be something that is passionate to you. Don't let it just be a job. Let it be something you love. You'll like it a lot better. It can't just be a job. It shouldn't just be a job. And have a sense of humor. You know, we take ourselves too seriously. If you don't laugh, you don't live. Live, laugh, and love. That's the key to success.